Hi, I'm Jeff Clark Jr., and this is Art and Underdogs. Today I'm joined by actor designer J.C. Manuel. His most recent work is an abstract film called Locust Hollow, directed by Joey Angeroni. I had the opportunity to see this film recently at a private screening in New York City, and, well, here's a short clip for you.
What are you doing?
Waiting for you.
Here I am.
There you are.
You're gonna have to do better than that, Chico. That'll do it.
Tú siempre era un come mierda.
JC, welcome to the show.
Jeff, what's going on, brother? Happy to be here, man. Been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So that clip there was from Locust Hollow. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's a different take on good versus evil, and it almost felt like a Twilight Zone slash Black Mirror episode. With that said, I'm curious, what was running through your head when you read the script?
When I got the script, when I read it the first time, I was like, man, first it really intrigued me because I thought it was really different. I definitely caught like the strange vibe to it at the first read. Uh, I liked it. It seemed like a thriller type of thing, kind of like a Black Mirror, like you were saying. So it had like that dark twist to it. So I was really kind of digging it. I've never done anything like that. That was kind of my first one that's kind of like that. That's a little different. It's kind of open ended. Uh, but man, I was kind of all in. I really liked the film. I called Joey. I think the next morning, and I was like, "Hey, man," I had a few questions about the film, about my character in particular. Like kind of like what he imagines this person looks like. Where does he come from, type of thing, and just to try and develop a background for my character. And man, I
Yeah,
was all in right from there. It was great. I had a great time.
I mean, the performance was very memorable to me.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, it was it was a great take on that specific type of character. Tell us about the character. Tell us how you approached building that character, and tell us what was running through your mind when you were preparing.
Well, I like those type of characters, those kind of dark, strange, coming out of nowhere type of guy. I think I think I like doing those. I like playing that type of character. They're
Yeah, you did
definitely
it well.
they're definitely a lot of fun. But I was just kind of thinking like, hey man, like who is this guy? I did develop a backstory for Dev. The character's name is Dev, which is actually short for Devil.
Mm,
When you watch the film, there's a part where the
yes.
guy that plays Ernie, his name's Matt, very talented actor and musician. You know, and Elise, which plays Ashley, she asked him, "Who is that guy?" He says, "Oh man, that's the devil." So that kind of like, that's kind of like where Dev kind of came from.
That
Was
makes sense. No,
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
make that connection,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
now that you explain your character and everything, that makes total sense.
Yeah, yeah. So I pretty much took that script, we break down the script and just kind of started thinking, what is this guy like? Where does he come from? And put a little bit of, I guess, whatever evil I can find that I've seen other people doing things, and just kind of like mix it all in there. And I came up with that guy.
What was your favorite part of filming Locust Hollow?
Man, it was about 3 days. I shot that. I was part of the shoot for about 3 days.
Where did you
And
shoot?
I was in Long Island. It was in man, I forgot that section of Long Island, but it's like this abandoned psych ward area, and it's
Oh wow.
it's it's and there's another park, another kind of beach area we went to right outside of that. But it's all down in Long Island. Really interesting locations. So he scouted those pretty well.
Some really creative and memorable shots too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
some of the drone shots were really impressive.
yeah, yeah,
Very smooth.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know he spent a lot of time kind of going out there getting those drone shots in. He actually spent, I don't know what the total filming was, how many days. It was, I would think, well over a week, because just me alone was like 3 days.
Did the film turn out how you thought it would turn out? Like you read the script, you built the character. When you saw the edit, did anything surprise you?
It's funny. At first, I say yes now because I was surprised, but before I didn't know what to expect. So I was like, man, because there was a part where, and I don't want to give too much away for some folks if they haven't seen it, but the part where I have the gun and I took a couple of shots. That gun was actually like a toy gun, a non-functioning toy gun, so it makes no sound, no clicking. There's no action to that gun. And
Hmm.
when I saw the visual effects afterward, I was like, wow. The ending was, man, when we shot that, I didn't know how the hell that was going to turn out. I was like, man,
Mm.
because we had the prosthetics, we had for the blood gushing, all that stuff, and my limbs were cut off. Um,
Yeah.
so
Let's not give too much
yeah, that
away.
give too much
But
away,
that was
but that was
crazy. That
crazy,
was
and I was
crazy.
like, hey, man, what is that going to look like? When you put that on film, is that going to look like real? Like, that's crazy.
And
And it,
let me just say there was a little bit of comedy involved too in that because
yeah, there was,
it
there was.
it was a brutal scene, but the, the way it turned out, it was actually a little comedic for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. So Joey Angeloni definitely has a sense of humor,
Yeah, he does. He does.
specific sense of humor.
He does. He's a good
So
guy,
so
man. He's
yeah,
a good guy. I'm glad I met him. Very talented guy. I know I've seen some of his other movies. He does good movies, man. He's made some really good movies. I enjoy his films.
I haven't seen his other films, but this one was
Yeah.
weirdly impressive. Yeah. So just to wrap this segment up, where can people watch Lucas Hollow?
So you could definitely watch it on Vimeo, right? Is that how you
Vimeo.
Vimeo? Sorry, yeah,
Okay.
Vimeo. I
Is that
always
your
screw that
Spanish
Vimeo.
coming out?
That's my
Vimeo.
Spanish coming out. That's my father saying Vimeo. Yeah. Um. So yeah, you could definitely watch it on there. Maybe you could post a link or something to it.
I will definitely post a link for people to watch it. Yes.
Yeah,
Is it
cool.
free to watch or is it a
I
pay?
I no, I believe it's free
You
to
have to pay.
watch. I believe it's
Oh, there you go, free to
I,
watch.
I
Well, I
believe
definitely
it's so.
recommend it.
Don't take my word for it. Go check and find out.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it
I'll
might
post
be.
a link for sure.
Yeah.
This segment is called the Underdog, and I'm somewhat familiar with your story, but let's bring the people in on this.
Okay.
So you have a very interesting um tale, a literal underdog tale, comeback story. So let's start off with the basics. Where were you born?
I'm from Union City originally. The 201, man. That's where I'm from. Born in Hoboken. Yeah, Hudson County kid.
Okay. Well, what was it like growing up around there?
Yeah, it was great, man. Uh, some time ago, had the second largest Cuban population in the country. Next to Miami.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Is Joey Diaz from Union?
he's from West New
The
York.
the
He's from
com-
West New York, town next to us. Yeah, so
okay,
he's from
okay.
West New York. So Union City, West New
Yeah,
York.
the comedian Joey
Yeah,
Diaz,
yeah,
right? I
Joey
feel like
Diaz,
I've
man.
heard him
He's
say
also
Union before.
no, he probably has. He was actually just there, like sometime during the summer. He went to go eat at one of the Cuban restaurants there.
Do you have any stories about your father and how he got here? He's from Cuba, right?
Yeah, he is. He got here. Well, he went through Spain, so he lived in Madrid for 2 years before coming to the States. My dad, they went to Madrid. I know they flew to Spain. When they went to Spain, I know before leaving Cuba, he almost couldn't leave. He was almost not allowed to leave Cuba. He was about to turn 15, and then I believe at the age of 15, it's mandatory to join the military. So, a
Ah,
lot
okay.
a lot of his brothers, his sister, they all left with my grandmother, and they all flew out. I believe my grandfather stayed behind with my dad, to try and get them to let him leave. And
Yeah, yeah.
ultimately,
It's hard.
yeah,
It's
ultimately,
hard to get out of
yeah, it's
there.
hard to get out of there. Ultimately,
Yeah.
thank God. You know, someone there that was an officer said, "Hey, you know what? It's fine. He's not 15 yet. His birthday's only a few days away." They actually let him go, and
Wow.
he went to he left Cuba, and they went to Spain.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't think people understand how difficult Cuba is living there and surviving there and trying to get to the United States
Yeah,
to have a
yeah,
better life and to give, he came here to give you a better life.
yeah,
Or he, at least
absolutely.
he was trying to get here through Spain, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, wow. So is your father an artist? Is your father an actor or
Uh,
any creative background?
well, he is very creative. He's very good with his hands. He's a contractor, so
Okay,
he
that's an art form in
it's an
itself.
art form in
Yeah.
itself. He's very creative with his construction, and he's retired now.
Woodworking.
Yeah, so he's really good at that stuff. And man, he's like one of the best
Shit.
contractors. I mean,
I mean,
kitchens
your
and
dad's an
bathrooms.
underdog, bro.
Yeah,
Your dad is an
he
underdog.
definitely is an underdog
Wow.
for sure.
Whew.
He's worked on
That's
some incredible homes for some incredible people, and he's built some real beautiful stuff. He's definitely
wow.
good.
I'm sure you're proud of him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, that's my
I'm sure he's
hero.
proud of you too. Yeah. Yeah, man.
We
Um,
hope. We hope.
so he's sort of creative. So, I mean, did you want to be an actor when you were younger?
I did. I always loved acting, and I love TV and movies, man. I was always like that kid that was like, if I was home, that's what I'm doing. I'm watching TV, movies, and I really get deep into the movies. Like they really just draw me in. Um, I don't know, man. I always loved it. And I remember when I was younger, I tried doing a play. I'll never forget this. Very embarrassing.
Oh, let's hear it. Let's hear
Oh
it.
man, it's a bad story. So I'm really not a good vocalist, right? I don't have that. That's one skill I don't have. God did not bless me with a great voice to sing. So this music teacher wanted
Okay.
me to sing in what was called a Pan American show, and it was like singing "Wings Beneath My Wings," and I was like,
Oh, wind beneath my wings.
"Wind beneath my wings." Yeah, right, right,
Okay.
right, right.
Okay.
And I was like, "Hey, man." Uh, I was like, "Oh man," I was so scared. I
Hey,
was like,
man.
I know that's not going to work out for me." So I sang the song. It wasn't really great, and but again, that's second grade. I just one of those things you don't forget. And I sang the song "Wind Beneath My Wings," and that was it. And then I was like, I never want to do this again. And then so I never want to step on a stage again. It's
But you did. But you did,
horrifying.
right?
Yeah, I did. I
But you
did. I
still
did.
did. You didn't sing, but you still stepped on
Yeah, I
stage,
still stepped on stage. But
overcame
yeah,
your fear.
always loved, always admired actors and kind of the art form of acting and the storytelling. And yeah, I just something I've always wanted to do. I guess I was afraid of doing it, and one of those things like maybe that's not for me. And then
Yeah.
I don't know, I just kept calling me, and then one day I said, hey, let me just do this. It keeps calling. I got to try it, at least try it, and here we
Yeah.
are.
Absolutely. And it's a struggle for sure being
Yeah,
an
for
actor,
sure.
being any type of creative. Um, just the path itself, the journey, the training. A lot of people think that you could just hop into a role and just act, and they don't understand
No,
or they're just not educated enough to know how difficult it truly is to be an
I
actor.
know. It really takes a lot of work, a lot of studying,
Yeah,
The
yeah.
studying never ends. It's never ending. We got I got a project coming up, and I'm so excited about this project. I've
All
been
right, tell us
blessed.
about it.
I don't want to I can't give away too much. It's brand new. I just got the script for it. It's not really a biopic, but it's on an individual who's a very special, very very kind individual who's kind of a philanthropist, and he's helped so many lives. He's changed a lot of lives, and provided many opportunities for a lot of people. So I think it's kind of a way of his peers and his close friends kind of coping with, because he passed away. Kind of,
Rest in peace.
yeah, rest in peace. And so when I was presented the script, I was like, man, I read it. I kind of felt how important it was, uh, how it was delivered to me, and I'm so honored to do this. It's a
And
great
I mean,
film.
this is based on a real
It's
person.
based on a real person.
Um, so that's a lot of responsibility on your
I
shoulders.
can't mess that up. No, I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
mess that one up. No. So
yeah.
very
That's
excited.
that's a
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity.
Absolutely,
That's a
man.
great opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, congratulations on booking that.
Thank you.
That's
But
that's another thing. It's hard to book jobs. It's hard to book
yeah, it
gigs.
is. It is. But like what we were talking about before is how much you got to work and study for these roles. It's like it's never ending.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other projects in the pipeline also that are coming up too that I've been cast for. One I'm with you in one of them, and
Hmm.
it's we're constantly working and studying and learning these characters, building these characters.
Yeah, it's a lot to take on, especially when you have a day job and you have a family, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
trying
for
to
sure.
pursue this dream that you wanted to pursue your entire life. At least for me, anyway. And it weighs on you for sure, but it's something you know you can't leave. If you love it, you can't leave it. You just can't stop doing it. And for me personally, that's where I am. I don't know about how you feel. Um,
No,
but yeah,
I definitely feel you on that, man. For me, it's something I just have to do. And I want to do it, and I love being part of these stories and telling them
yeah,
i-
yeah.
in our artistic way. I think there's a lot there to do, and maybe that inspires others. Maybe that does something for
Oh yeah, the
someone.
story. It's all about the stories for
All about the
sure.
story. Yeah,
You're serving a purpose in the story, and you hope that it inspires people or touches people somehow. I mean, it depends on the genre, obviously, but
yeah, for sure.
you just want to entertain someone and just help them, put away their daily life and their daily BS and just get away from it all for a little bit and just be entertained. It's a good feeling
Absolutely,
to affect someone
absolutely.
in that way. Um, but yeah, so I'm just curious. Growing up um, in Jersey, what type of jobs did you have? And then, if you don't mind, kind of segue into where you are now and what you do to support this acting career, um,
Yeah.
the daily job.
So I've had a couple of, I had, kind of like, your regular fast food restaurant jobs. So when I was a kid in high school, I remember when I started driving, or right when I started driving around 17, actually at 17 on my birthday, I got my license and then got a car after that. I had to start getting a job so I could start kind of like, you know, helping pay for whatever maintenance for the car and whatnot.
Right, right.
So I did that. Worked at your typical fast food restaurants. I worked at Taco Bell. Worked at Pizza Hut. So I had all those kind of jobs.
Taco Bell's my John, son.
Taco Bell. I got a funny story with Taco.
Love Taco Bell.
I got fired from Taco Bell or something like that.
Uh, were you stealing some tacos? What's up?
No,
What happened?
man. No, man. It was actually a funny story. I'll never forget. And I tell this story. Um, some people know this story. So I was working. You go to Taco Bell. It's sort of like an assembly line, right? So you got the guy
Yeah, of
taking out the
course.
taco. You got this one putting whatever condiments in there, and then et cetera, et cetera. So I had the condiments, well, the cheese and lettuce, tomato section, and I grabbed when I grabbed a bunch of cheese and I put it on these tacos, the manager got really, really upset and started yelling at me like in front of everyone. This place was a packed restaurant. Everyone was there. The register was right there. The people taking orders, everyone's watching her. Like she just got so irate and she lost it. And she started telling me, "Did you pay for that cheese?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was so lost. I was like, "What are you talking about?" I really didn't do anything wrong. And then she told me it's supposed to be a pinch. Pinch is two fingers, not. So I was like, what? Then she got
Oh
so mad and
man!
she actually kicked me out, sent me home and everything. And I was like, oh well, I guess that's my
Wow,
my career
the
is
cheese Nazi at Taco Bell.
the cheese Nazi at Taco Bell. Yeah, she definitely didn't like me after
Wow,
that. So yeah,
that's a
so
that's an interesting story.
that's a
So
funny,
what do you do
interesting
now?
story.
That's a great story. Yeah, it's
So
like
so
really
I so now I'm a designer now. I'm a structural designer, a design
okay.
manager. Um,
You want so some people they don't understand the difference between the designers like graphic designer, motion designer. Can you kind of explain what a structural designer is?
sure, absolutely. So pretty much what I do, I definitely work with displays and packaging. So a lot of times when you go to any big box store, your Walmarts, any club stores, or a drug chain store like your Walgreens, CVS, you'll see these corrugated displays. A lot of people call it cardboard, but it's actually not called cardboard. It's corrugated because the board is corrugated together. So
Yeah.
you have corrugated displays. Sometimes they're counting units, sometimes they're floor stands or end caps. I so once the renderer or graphic artist or the customer in that sense might have a concept of what they want, how they want their product to merchandise at a certain retailer. Um, I go ahead and bring it to life. So I actually design and build that piece of furniture out of corrugated. And then
Interesting. Okay.
I work very similar to an architect where we have kind of like 2D CAD, and we have and everything
Cat.
CAD, yeah, CAD.
I remember Cat from high school.
Yeah, that's where it all started for me. And yeah, so we actually develop these components, and then when you put the components together, they just come together to that full unit, sort of like an IKEA. You ever bought like IKEA furniture when you have all these
Yeah,
components separate
of
and you
course.
have your
Yeah.
instructions, put it together, and you got that
Oh, so
same
you're the
thing.
one that builds the instructions, huh?
I build the instruction sheets also, yeah.
You're the one that makes it hard to put that stuff together. I'm just kidding.
So
Um,
I do that
so
too,
so
yeah.
you so you basically like say like I walk into a Walmart or Target or whatever, and there's like a stack of like Lysol wipes that packaging that structure that those are sitting in. That's what that you design and build that.
Yes, that's actually my customers.
Okay.
So yeah, if you saw something for
Oh
Lysol,
yeah.
that's probably us, yeah.
Oh snap.
It's actually my
JC Manuel special. All right.
which is Reckitt Benckiser. That's the main company. Lysol is one of the brands, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you would just walk right past those things. You never realize, or
You don't know who
oh,
makes
someone
it.
must have built it. Yeah, yeah.
You don't even
You don't
think about
realize
that,
it.
yeah. That's me.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's
what.
me.
Yeah, so that's what fuels the acting career. That's what pays for all the acting
That's what
classes you
pays for
take
all
in,
the
and
acting classes. Yeah, puts the food on the table. That's how
no,
that
that's great,
works.
man. That's great. I mean, you get to be a little creative
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
day job, which a lot of people wish they could do that. I mean, we take it for granted, as artists, like it just becomes another thing. But you think about these guys working construction and freaking, you know, throwing roofs on houses and I mean it's
yeah, yeah. No, you're right. You're
I
right.
mean these guys, they work so hard, and then sometimes we take it for granted. It's just another job or whatever. But
Yeah, I think
yeah, we're lucky.
I think when you work in creative, there's a lot of like, you're exhausted, right? You're mentally and
Yeah,
exhausted, because
yeah,
you're constantly conceptualizing or developing or whatever you're doing. You're really inventing everything that you're making, right? All the time. So from scratch, there's no easy button, that you can press and then, the thing just magically appears. You're the creator of these items that actually
yes,
exist or come to existence. So I think that's really like mentally straining after a while. Like, you're weak,
yeah,
especially if you had a hard week, but nothing that's labor intensive like some other careers. We definitely, I
right.
think we, as a creative, I
I
definitely
mean,
think
we're
we
not.
have it good.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's not,
we're not laying asphalt.
no, we're not.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
Those
not.
those are the real
Those are the
those are the
real
real dudes
workers.
that like
Yeah, those are the
yeah,
real dudes. Yeah.
those dudes work hard,
Those
man.
dudes work hard. I don't work. Yeah, we don't
Um
work hard like that. Yeah.
you overcame something. Um so if you don't mind me asking, I'm motivated and inspired by people who overcome extreme adversity, right?
Right.
And I'd love for you to share your underdog story with everyone, and kind of speak about you had like a near death experience almost several years ago, and I would love for you to just tell that story and walk us through that if you can.
Yeah, that was a really crazy time, Jeff. That so I had swine flu in 2009. I'll start from the beginning. I remember I went to work that this one day, and we had a 5K for work. And
What's a 5K for work?
Well, it's like a 5K run, like a benefit for work, and we're
Oh, like
running
a
to
literal,
like a
like
little
a yeah,
like a team building thing type of thing.
got you.
So, and it was far. It was down by Thoroughfare, New Jersey, which is really down South Jersey, right? So it's almost by AC. So we get down there. I remember I wasn't feeling good that morning. I felt kind of sick. I felt like I had a cold, but nothing that you call out sick for. Nothing that you would normally. Just a little under the weather. Just that
Yeah,
type of feeling. So I remember going to work, and then everyone's like, "Hey man, what do you have a cold?" And I said, "Nah, I'm all right. No big deal." And and it wasn't no big deal. So we get down there. I start getting ready. Now I've never been a runner. I'm never that type of guy. I do cardio because I've had to do cardio, but never been like a 5K marathon type of guy. I'm not into that. I've
Right.
always been into
Marathon. Yeah,
weightlifting
yeah, yeah.
or other type of athletic things, but not that. And I remember I said, oh, it's 5K. It's not that bad, and I could do it. No big deal. So I started doing this 5K, and I was like, I'll just jog it, and I'm just coasting it, and I'm like, man, I'm really tired, but I'm like, man, I feel so strange. This is not like a normal tired. I felt like I was going to collapse.
Mm.
And I was like, man, I can't breathe. I'm hyperventilating. I'm not even halfway through this 5K. And I'm like, man, this isn't normal. I said, I know I'm out of shape, but not that bad.
Yeah, yeah.
So I said, let me sit down. So I sat down. I told a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, I'm like, hey, man, I'm really not feeling well. And he was like, hey, don't worry, just sit it out. They finished the 5K. They kind of kept going. And once we finished up, there was like a little after party and there was like a dinner. And, it's a company function. I didn't drive.
Right.
So I was like, man, I'm kind of stuck there. So I kind of carpooled with someone and I was like, I don't want to ruin their night. So I'm going to rough this out. So I went to the dinner. It was cool. Man, by the time I got to the dinner, I was like full blown sick, head on the table. I couldn't even get up. I couldn't function anymore. He's looking at me and he was like, hey man, I think I got to take you home. What the hell is wrong with you? Did you drink? And I was like, no, I can't drink anything. Water. That's all I've been drinking. So we get to his car. He goes, hey man, I'm gonna take you home. You look very, very bad. So he got in the car. I was hot, man. I felt like I was well over 100,
Like a
like
fever. Yeah.
fever, right? Everything was hot.
Mm-hmm.
My eyes were hot, ears, everything was hot. So then, whatever, we get back to where my car was, which is at work. And at the time, thank God, work was only like 2 to 3 miles away from my house at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I get in the car, man. I have no memory of how I got home. I
Wow.
drove home, but right now I don't remember driving home or back then. No memory of that. I must have somehow coasted home.
Oh
I
my God.
went to bed. My wife took me to the emergency room. They said, "Hey, he has the flu. Um, he has the flu." They gave me a Z pack. They sent me home. I said, "Okay." I was there home. I was doing the Z pack. I kind of woke up from that a little bit, got a little better, but I wasn't getting better. I was still sick, high fevers. My wife was like, "Hey, if you don't start improving, we're gonna take you back to the hospital." So I remember
Mm-hmm.
that night I called up a really, really close friend of mine. I was a powerlifter, bodybuilder. I was into that stuff. One of my friends were competing that weekend also. And I remember calling him and saying, hey man, I'm so sorry I can't make it to the show. I was supposed to go there to help him, right? And be there with him and support him. And definitely wasn't making it. And he was like, hey, no problem. I hung up that call and that's all I remember. The next thing I know, I woke up like 28 days later. What happened?
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah. So that's
Wait,
how that happened.
where did you call this guy from?
I called him from my house. I was already in bed.
But
I had driven home from
s-
work.
yeah, so you were in bed. You called this guy,
Yeah.
told him you can't make
I
it.
can't make it the
So
next
what? You
morning.
passed. You passed
I
out.
passed out.
Holy shit.
28 days later is when I woke up in a hospital bed. So that's what I remember. So there's some in
So
between there.
did your wife try to wake you up and was like, oh, he's so then
Yeah. So
the
that
ambulance
next,
came and everything.
well, that night she checked on me. She said she checked on me. She said she talked to me. I don't really remember her conversations, but
Mm.
when she was like, hey, he's really sick. She didn't stay with me in the room because she wasn't sick. So she stayed. I think she stayed either with the kids in the kids' room or she might have slept in the living room watching TV. The next morning she had to go to work. And she was like, hey, let me check on JC, make sure that he's okay. So she goes upstairs and she goes to check on me and say goodbye that she's going to work and that she left food and all this stuff prepared for me and she had made soup or whatever. She goes into the room and I'm passed out in bed and I'm blue. I wasn't breathing. Immediately freaked out, called the
My
ambulance. The
God.
ambulance came. I was revived at home. This you gotta remember, everything here is what they
Yeah,
tell
it's
me.
not like she can pick you. I mean, it's not like she
She
can
can't
pick you
pick
up
me
and
up. She
take you.
can't
So,
take me with me. So she called
and your
the
kids too.
ambulance.
So they called the ambulance. They had to wait for the ambulance to get there. You're blue.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
they revived me, and I came
wow.
to, and they spoke to me, and I spoke back and answered their questions. I have no memory of that. Till
Oh
this
my
day, I
God.
don't remember that. I don't know what happened there. I only know what they tell me. I talk back. So the doctor did tell me afterwards, when your body is in shock like that and kind of like is just working to save its life, right? Just to kind of just it's like in
Jesus.
self defense mode where memory doesn't you don't always remember everything. So that's what I was told.
So they revived you in while you're in your bed. They
Yeah, they
revived
revived
you.
me there. They gave
How
me
did they
oxygen.
do that? Did they use the shocking? What the hell are those things called? Where they put on your chest and they shock it? Like how do they revive you? Like
You know what, Jeff? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think they did that. I don't think they did that. But they definitely gave me oxygen. They probably did some sort of CPR.
yeah,
Is what I think
yeah.
they did. And I came
Okay,
to.
so they took you to the
They
hospital.
took me to the hospital. Uh,
Obviously, you don't remember you don't
I
remember what
don't have any
happened
memory there.
until you woke up 28
28
days
days
later.
later. So
Jeez.
so what was wrong with me is that I had swine flu, and from swine flu, I developed a acute respiratory distress syndrome, which is pretty much the loss of your lungs. And the doctor said it just to give you a visual example of what my lungs looked like at the time is like looking at two burnt pieces of toast. So they kind of got to
Oh
regenerate
my god.
themselves. So I lost 95% of my lung capacity at one point.
Jeez.
So I was in the hospital for, I came home September, right before the kids started school. So that was July 2nd that I was admitted into the hospital,
So
2009, and I got home in September from the hospital.
so you were in a coma for 28
Yeah,
days.
for 28 days.
And when you're in a coma, obviously they have to feed you through a tube, right? I mean, you can't eat. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you must have looked different. You must have lost
Yes.
weight. You must have
Almost
it,
like 50, 60 pounds, I want to say.
wow.
I was probably, you could see the bones. I have photos. You could see not like on me, but I have actual photos that my parents took. You can see the
Mm,
bones coming across my chest. You can see all these, everything. I was totally like, yeah, I was 150, 117 pounds.
gee, dude, that's insane.
I walk
Cause of
around
swine
I
flu.
walk around 180 to 190. So I lost all that weight. I remember when I got home, I don't know how much I weighed, maybe 140 something. I was
Yeah.
so thin, but like a weak thin. It wasn't like a healthy thin. Like I was still trying to get myself together.
Do you remember anything at all? Like, what did you wake? Some people they have these. They go in a coma and they come out, and then there's like, oh, I saw this, or I remember this. I had dreams. Was there anything?
I want to say I remember my grandfather. I don't know if I dreamed that he talked to me or what, but I think I have memories of that. Um, I remember him visually. I don't remember if we talked or anything. I
Okay.
remember I
Is your
remember
grandfather
he passed
was he
away.
still he
No,
was he was
he's
uh he was already deceased
yeah, he was already
when
deceased.
you went?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, so
I feel like
I
he was
mean,
like
he was with
my
you. Maybe he
yeah.
was with you.
I feel that. Yeah, I feel that. I feel like he was with me.
Wow,
Um,
that's
it's
that's
crazy, man. I felt like
that's something else.
I remember having like these weird dreams, like drowning dreams, and I associate that with maybe being intubated.
Mm,
When I was intubated, maybe that was happening, and then I kind of felt like I was underwater or something, which wasn't a great dream. It felt like it went on for a long time.
wow,
Yeah. Um,
that's that's deep, dude.
yeah, it's really deep.
Whoo, that's heavy. That's heavy, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
What a story though,
Yeah,
and for
yeah.
you to you said that's 2009.
2009. That's what the tattoo's about. It's a cross wrapped in tribal with the date that I left the hospital and
Yeah,
went into physical therapy. I went to therapy and I lived in Kessler for about 2 weeks.
damn. That's I'm processing that, dude.
So I know. There's a lot, man. There's a lot that went on there. Even I remember even being awake after I woke up. I was obviously still in the hospital for like another month because they had to, make sure and that I've been
Yeah, you
walking
had to
and
recover.
I have to recover, right? So I remember the first time I had to walk, and I'll tell you the story. It's pretty crazy. So the nurse comes in, she's like, "Hey, we're gonna try and walk today," and I'm like, "It's no big deal." And she goes, "Well, let's just take it easy." I didn't know. I just woke up. I have no idea. I'm like, all right, let's just go because and we're trying to go. And once I got up and I planted my feet on the ground, and she had like the whole walker thing, right? So I could stabilize myself. My heart rate must have went up to like 131. It was super high. I was hypervent. All I did was turn around and put my feet down. I felt like I was gonna get a
Yeah,
heart
your
attack.
entire oof, you're like your entire immune system, like
Everything.
everything, your your brain is just trying to connect everything, and you're just like it's trying to
Yeah, yeah,
reconnect and figure out how to
yeah.
do things again
Yeah, I
from
think,
being
man,
down 28 days. I mean,
28 days. You're in bed 28
yeah.
days, and it's crazy, man. Your whole cardiovascular system is shot, right? So it's like,
hmm That's what I meant to say. Cardiovascular.
yeah, it's
Yeah, not your
non-existent,
immune
right?
system.
It's the
Yeah.
non-existent. So it's a lot. So it's definitely slow, little by little. So I remember we started like just walking around like around the bed and coming back in. And that's like a whole workout,
Mm.
right? So it's just walking
Yeah, you're
around.
like out of breath probably, and
I'm out of breath, totally out of breath, totally
yeah.
like I can't do it, like collapsing.
So you were there for a month, and then you finally got home.
Got home, so I went to Kessler. I left there.
What's Kessler?
Kessler's
Just a
just
rehabilitation
rehabilitation,
or
right? So physical therapy, but I
physical
had to
therapy? Yeah,
stay.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was there for 2 weeks, so it was like I finished off the month of August there, and I came home the beginning of September. So when I got to Kessler, it was more. I was already better. I had like a breathing tank and I
Yeah.
was already, I was already functioning and walking around, and I was fine. So it was more intense therapy, like more like a workout type of thing. They gave me some gym time. They gave me just to do little things and just start getting mobile and start using
Yeah.
my you know
Just taking it a little at a time.
yeah.
And here you are.
And here I am, and I got home
Survived.
September. Survived, man. Thank
Friggin'
God.
straight up underdog, bro.
I'll tell
Thank
you.
God. Yeah.
I'll tell you. One of the scariest things was being in there while I was in a coma. I was one of three patients, and my whole family was. I have family flying from Florida. A lot of family, a lot of friends, a lot of support was there for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate all of them. I love all of them for that.
Wow.
But while I was there, there was families, other families there for the other patients that were there with the same symptoms, same swine flu, ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome, same thing. I was the only one out of the three that survived.
Jeez.
Yeah. So my family got to watch the other two not make it, and and
Yeah.
I'm
Can you
I'm
imagine what
I'm
was running
still in
through
the
their mind?
yeah. They must have they were losing their minds. They definitely lost their minds. My wife, my poor wife.
Dude,
She's a trooper,
I
man.
think
She's
your
a trooper.
I think your grandfather was there with you, man.
I believe
He
so.
was watching over you, bro.
I believe so. I
Damn.
believe so. I don't think it was my time yet. Definitely wasn't my time yet.
Man.
Thank
I
God.
mean, what did you learn from that? Like going through all that? What is there anything that you could take away from that?
Yeah. Make sure you spend your time wisely.
Yeah.
100%. Your family, your friends, people you really love. Make sure you're around the right people. And you're doing the things you love. Make sure
Yeah.
you spend your time here wisely.
Yeah. I was
And
just gonna say,
go.
don't take
Yeah.
your time for granted. Don't
Yeah.
take your life for granted
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
because you get friggin' swine flu of all things, and
It's crazy. It's
you
crazy.
never know what could happen.
So that was a big thing. So when COVID came around, I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh man, I'm not going nowhere." I locked my doors. I'm
Yeah.
staying
Well,
home, man. I'm not doing this again. I said, "No
yeah,
way,
that was a
no
lot of
way."
people too, but I'm
Yeah,
sure you more than the
yeah,
general population was like, nope, I'm
yeah,
not doing that again.
yeah. No way, man.
Um, well, thank you so much for sharing that story with us, man.
No
That
problem, man.
that's
Of course, of
like I
course.
said, that's very heavy. It's deep, but I
Yeah,
think a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
people out there who are listening to this can learn something from it. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
um, and it's a hell of a story. If not anything, that you survived that, and that you woke up and you saw visions of your grandfather, and you felt yourself drowning, so you do have some kind of like bits and pieces of memory here and there, even though it wasn't verbally. It's something was speaking to you, and I believe that. I believe your grandfather was watching over you, man.
Yeah, thank you,
But
man. Appreciate that.
yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. Whoa, so we need to move into something a little bit more lighthearted, man. Because whew,
Yeah,
that's
that's
that's a
deep.
lot to
That's
think about.
deep. It's getting hot,
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
but this is what this podcast is about. This is what this show is about. Is the underdogs, everyday underdogs that go through it and they come out on the other side and they persevere over extreme adversity. With that said, let's move on to something a little more lighthearted. The next segment is inspired by James Lipton from Inside the Actor Studio. I was a big fan of that show. This is called the Quick Questions Game.
Okay.
It's basically rapid fire questions, and if you can, just answer them as fast as you possibly can, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
All right. So I'll just ask you a series of questions. There's 10 of them. Here we go.
I'll do my
What's your?
best. I'll do my best.
Hey, that's
All
all I
right, let's
ask,
do
man.
it. Let's do it.
You'll be good. You'll be good. What's your favorite film?
Scarface.
What's your favorite actor or actress? Or who?
Jason Bateman.
Who's your favorite music artist or band?
Biggie Smalls.
What's your favorite sound?
Peace and quiet.
What's your favorite smell?
Soap.
What's your favorite place to vacation?
Jamaica. Right now.
What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Who do you look up to?
My father. My dad.
Who's someone you would like to say thank you to?
My parents.
All right. And last question. If you get to heaven and they open the gates and, God walks up to you and looks you in the eyes, what would you like to hear him say?
It's not your time yet. We're going to send you back.
All right.
I think that already happened.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, that's our show. I just want to thank you for being here, JC, sharing your story with us.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Where can people follow your journey? Where can people get a hold of you?
Definitely I have my website, which is jcmanuel.com. And then also you could find me on Instagram, JC4 real REEL. That's where you can find me. JC for real.
JC is in fact for real.
Yes, he is.
He's the real deal.
He is.
No, I'm just kidding. JC Manuel, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on. And
thank you, man. Thank you for having me, man. This is a great podcast. I'm happy to be here. And by the way, man, I love the background. You got like some good stuff going on there. Looks good, man. Looks good.
I appreciate it.
All right, brother.
All right. It's great talking to you. Thank you, guys. Until the next one, this has been the Art and Underdogs podcast. We'll see you next time.